This is the third part of my five-part series on the five clairs, or the tools of communication that spirit uses with mediums and with all of us to communicate information. And today I'll be focusing on clairvoyance. Just to recap, we've gone through clairaudience, which is clear hearing or the ability to hear spirit through words, phrases, music, things like that. Claircognizance, which is clear knowing, the ability to understand some truth that normally wouldn't be available to you. And then today, clairvoyance, clear seeing, the ability to see images in one's mind that send information to the sitter that would normally be difficult to obtain in other circumstances. So I also work very strongly with clairvoyance. I see images, pictures, movies, symbols very clearly as I'm giving readings. And I think most mediums have clairvoyance very strongly because it's a big part of spirit communication. I'll give an example. I often will see a red truck when I'm giving a reading to people, and it often represents the idea that the energy that I'm speaking for in that moment was someone who enjoyed rough kind of pastimes, being in the woods, being outside, riding quickly on country roads, that kind of thing. Seeing a red truck also often is literal. It means that there was some kind of truck, usually a red one, in that person's life, but it also has a symbolic meaning. And I'll see many other symbols, images, movies, moving pictures in my mind as well as I'm giving readings. And it's important with clairvoyance to really allow those images to settle and to be open to what the meaning might be. So I may receive red trucks as a symbol in readings all the time. But if I lock myself in place with the meaning of the red truck and just assume that's all it means, it only means that the person was someone who enjoyed the outdoors and that they owned a red truck, then I'm limiting my ability to translate that symbol. So it's very important for every circumstance to remain open about what these images might mean, because they will often throw you for a loop. They'll throw you a curveball, spirit, and will communicate in symbol in very non-circuit, or rather circuitous ways, non-linear ways, and use the same symbol that you've seen many times as a completely different thing. So the important thing with clairvoyance is to share the image or the symbol with the sitter, the person you're giving the reading to, and allow them to breathe with the image and share what they feel it could mean before you interpret it on your end. And when you do interpret an image that comes to you through clairvoyance, do so in an open-ended way. Say, this is what a red truck often means to me, but it could be different in this circumstance. And if it resonates for you in a different way, please feel free to share, and we'll explore that meaning behind the red truck rather than the one that I have come to expect when I see it. So clairvoyance really requires a great level of creativity and openness. And most people who are practicing mediums or even have a curiosity about mediumship are creative people. It's a common thing because mediumship requires a strong imagination so that you can see, hear, feel very clearly in a way that maybe somebody who is more mathematically minded does not. It's just a different way of being. That's not to say that somebody who is mathematically minded isn't a medium. They are, but they would just have a different way of experiencing the information and also might struggle with the curiosity to pursue mediumship because it is so creative and so outside the bounds of their understanding of what can be proven. So that's just a little bit of a diatribe in a different direction. But back to clairvoyance. Just as with clairaudience and claircognizance, developing clairvoyance, the most important thing you can do is practice meditation, even just for 30 seconds a day, so that you learn to find that presence, even just for a few seconds, that allows the openness, that gives spirit the opening to step in and share symbolic images that expand your ability to see and to describe. Symbolism is so important in spirit communication. It's perhaps the biggest part and the most common aspect of it. And so practicing meditation so that that possibility expands for you is very important. Also, again, coming to mediumship circles, I host one through Meetup on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. EST, totally free via Zoom. I always add the link in the comment section. And then also, again, remaining open to what the symbol might mean and taking notes of symbols that come through to you, whether when giving practice readings or actual readings or just in your day-to-day life. If you see symbolic images in your mind's eye and you're not sure what they mean, or you're sure what they mean, or you know what they're supposed to be applied to, or you don't, whatever the case may be, write them down. Create a kind of diary or an index of the symbols that come to you because you'll start to see a pattern. And in that pattern, you'll start to see meaning. And then that can help you with the narrative of a reading once you start giving them if you haven't already. So those are the three things that I suggest for clairvoyance to develop it more firmly. Meditation, as always, practice circles, as always, and creating an index of the symbols that come to you so that you start to learn what the common symbols are for you and start to create a narrative around them so that they come more quickly and you have deeper understanding of them when you're on the spot in a reading. I had to create another section to this video to discuss another aspect of clairvoyance that I left out and that I absolutely want to include because it's very important. Clairvoyance is not just the ability to see symbol, it's also the ability to see what an energy looked like when the energy was in the body. So that is also a big part, of course, to mediumship and not something that everyone has access to immediately. It does take practice and it takes confidence and trust to really believe that what you're seeing is legitimate. But for me, it's a big part of my mediumship practice. I do see energies very clearly. I see what they looked like. I see the color of their hair, the color of their eyes, what they're wearing. So it is incredibly important and often helps to validate who the energy is, and it's a big part of clairvoyance. And developing that, I think mostly along with meditation, is going to mediumship circles, practicing in public like that, and being brave enough to share what you see and to risk being wrong. Because sometimes that interpretation can become skewed in the moment with nerves or fear of being wrong or fear of rejection. So continuing to practice and developing a level of trust with your own ability in a circle that is safe and forgiving and only wants to see you grow in your mediumship is incredibly important with developing that aspect of mediumship. Just the ability to see the spirit, see the energy, and describe that energy. So that's just an addendum to this video. Tomorrow's video will be an interesting one. It will be on clairgustance, which is clear taste. A pretty unique one, but we'll talk about that tomorrow and how it can show itself and how it can be developed. If you enjoy my videos, please like and subscribe because it helps me very much. Thank you.